until the age of, I don't know, 18 months or so, my bed was the bottom drawer of a bureau. Two small drawers at the top, a wider one, and then a nice deep one at the bottom. Bog standard type of chest of drawers. But that was kept out in the Anderson shelter. The idea being that if there was an alarm during the night, my mother and father would whip me out to the Anderson shelter, take me in there, remove the middle drawer so as I could breathe, and the bottom drawer was already made up as a bed for, a whippersnapper. And I spent 18 months, I suppose, sleeping in a bottom drawer of a chest of drawers. But I gather that was quite common. The idea being that if anything came down on that chest of drawers, you had a better chance of living if you were in the bottom drawer than if you were just lying around in a cot. And you see the logic of it, but that was the recommendation from the War Department. And I've still got that chest of drawers. It's now rotting away quietly in my workshop. And I have pointed it out to the family, and it's part of my history, I suppose. What else can I tell you? Playing in the streets in London. We used to. You can't keep kids down. Kids, they bounce, and they want to get out and play cricket. Tie a rope round the gas light, wind it round, and they have a swing around it as it unravels. We used to do all these things. But at the age of 4, it was considered, with the doodlebugs coming over, and we had a couple come pretty close, that all the little ones had to be got out of London. I say that for the very reason that we had a house in London. At the back there, they had a anti-aircraft gun. Had a fence, a wire link fence, a block of flats over there, another block of flats there, and a parade of houses here. And we were still here, and there was a bloody great gun firing off there, and that was my introduction to everything. We don't have fairies. We have ACAT guns at the bottom of our garden. So, just to be different.
Yeah, absolutely. So what were your memories going sort of onwards from 44 then?
Of when I was 4-year-old, as I say, they decided in 1944 to get the kids out. The doodlebugs were coming over, the big rockets, the V2s, which you didn't hear coming. I had no idea when they would explode. Were coming over as well. Get the kids out. Time to play silly buggers is gone. So I was sent to Yorkshire. Little 4-year-old, ankle biter, behind my dad, into King's Cross. He had laid on for somebody to look after me at the other end, and we walked down the station. And Dad's looking in all the places, all the what do you call compartments, and eventually I get put in a lovely compartment. All the young soldiers, and ladies. What do you call them? Wives. And they've all got brothers and sisters my age. So I go in there, and I'm fated from one end, from London to bloody York. I'm fated, really well treated. But I mean, say, you wouldn't dream of taking a 4-year-old child and just saying, please look after this, put him out in York, which my father had to do. Just turf him out in York. There'll be somebody to meet him. But, those were the days when you could do things like that. As I say, all the young people in this coach had brothers and sisters, I expect, my age, and they knew exactly how to look after me. So there was no problem.
What happened when you got there?
I was taken to a farm It was my cousin's relative somehow. I don't know how. And I was taken to a place called Easingwold. Christ. Easingwold. And there I stayed for a good long while. I've got photographs somewhere of my father when he came up from London to visit me. Yeah, they had farm horses and drays, and sort of pitchforks, all what you would expect them to have. And the only black I really put up as a non-country Londoner was we were collecting up the straw one day in a field, half a mile away, and I got tired. I'm going home. All right, go on, off you go. And of course, instead of going round, as a good country boy would do, he would walk round the perimeter and home. Not me, I'm a Londoner, and I don't know about the intimacies of country living. Ding! And there's this lovely footpath all across a field of wheat. And what idiot did that? This little fellow walk. That was me. But, you know, that was the only black I really put up, as I recall.
And what about the food situation?
Never knew anything about it, to be honest. At home, Mother coped. I seem to remember we had a lot of rabbit. I still like it. On the farm, I don't know quite how they coped. But I assume they had better abilities at growing or culling or whatever. Their own stuff. They had enough land there. They were bound to have rabbits and wild rabbits, you know. So you could always cull a couple of those. There would have been chickens, therefore eggs. No, I would imagine they did quite well, tolerably well. Damn sight better than the EastEnders.
And I know a lot of prisoners of war worked on the farms. Did you ever see a prisoner of war?
No, not that I can recall. No, I came back to London and just took up literally where I left off, playing in the streets and off to school.
When did you come back to London afterwards?
Now that I don't actually recall what year that was. It was just a case of reversing going up there and coming back into London, and suddenly there was sort of houses everywhere and a different taste. Yeah, other than that, no, I don't recall what year it was.
And I know you were young at the time, but do you remember London feeling or being different to how you may have left it?
There are a few empty spaces, a good few. I was in North London, Islington, and yeah, you'd be walking around bomb sites to get anywhere. Not nice. And the thing, thinking back now, those bomb sites took a bloody long time before they were built on or anything was done with them. There were bomb sites in London quite literally up until the 50s. An awfully long time. I assume they've all gone now, but one would hope so.
So at the time they were sort of a recreation ground for small children still then?
If they were reasonably safe, yes. If there was anything upright, then they would be fenced off for safety's sake, safety reasons.
Did you ever come across any sort of German plane parts or bombs or anything when you were around that sort of area?
No, I wouldn't have recognised it. I was too young. Wouldn't have recognised it. No. I was just, I say, an average junior school kid age. But what's average in those circumstances? And people began to come back and take up their lives. My father's eyesight was so bad, he couldn't go in the services, rather like Ken, but he was conscripted to the police. He was a special in the war. And my mother took my father's job. He was an insurance agent with the co-op before the war. So my mother took that round over and kept that going, on top of everything else, while he was doing his police work. Police National, I don't know I don't know if it was National Service. I suppose it would have been.
That must have been tricky work in that area at the time.
Well, rather like Grandad here, you don't get them to talk about it much. And my father only ever told me one story. He was on a duty one night, and the word went out over the little blue boxes they used to have. Would you congregate at such and such a place? So he went there to this address. And there were other bobbies joining in. And out came the buttons. And they went in, and they were looking for a particular person. Why? I've no idea. And they hunted high and low for him, couldn't find a book. He was not to be found. Oh, well, he's not, just not here. So they started going out, and Dad was, for some reason, he was the last one out of the room. And as he went out, somebody slammed the door up ahead, and something moved in the room they just left. And this guy, a pair of legs came down the chimney. He said he'd never laughed so much. This guy had been struggling up the chimney to hide himself. Yeah, that was the only story he ever told me, and he was there for a few years. Yeah.
So do you think your childhood has had an influence on the rest of your life and your attitude towards life?
Not really. I have a love of the countryside. When I was a very young man, I joined a cycling club because it was the only way, if you hadn't got money, only way you could get out of London. As a young lad, I joined the YHA, Youth Hostelers, and I'm still a youth hostler to this day. I pay my subs every year. Not that I use it very much now, for the last few years, but I like the thought of it, of young people having places to go where they can stay overnight for 15 quid, 15, 18 quid, and be safe. My daughter still uses it when she goes to London. She stays in the youth hostel, and that pleases me because I know that she's in a dormitory with girls, safe. And it's nice to know I've contributed a little towards that, keeping that going. My wife, Linda, she's a life member of the YHA. So she paid her money up front a long time ago.